Welcome back to the $1 million Tipping Point podcast. Today, Dee Williams is here, and she's got a lot of good information for us because she runs a company called Reskillify and Staffingpreneur. Now, Dee, I'm hoping can give us advice, obviously, on how to grow your business to 7 figures, but also how to hire right the first time around, as she might be an expert in this as she helps people build staffing agencies. Also, how to use workshops to grow your business, and maybe some tips to create a successful course and community from your own knowledge. So again, if you're looking to start your own online business and become a freelancer, please head over to corporate2contract.com and download the 14-day sprint to starting your business. So Dee is known as an Audacionaire, and she's on a mission to move unconventional leaders into the center of their zone of influence by using hardships as fuel to empower, inspire, overcome, create, and transform. As a resilience expert, she's dedicated to helping the slept on, underrated, underrepresented, and underestimated individuals of the world become CEOs of their own careers. So Dee, hello, thank you, and welcome for being on the show. Welcome to being on the show.
No, thank you. I appreciate the invite. I appreciate being here. I'm excited.
Now, our listeners, you guys don't know this because you're listening, but Dee has some amazing makeup. You got to head to the YouTube and check it out. She is on Pacific Coast time. I'm on East Coast time. She had a makeup person come in and do her makeup just for this. And I saw it up close and it's gorgeous. So head to YouTube and look at her makeup because it deserves all the credit possible, really.
It's all you. It's all you. Thank you.
And it also means this is like 10 a.m. So it's like 7 a.m. for Dee. And that means she got up even earlier to do the makeup and had someone come do the makeup. My mind is blown. Like, you're like a Kardashian to me now at this point. It's
funny.
Okay, so tell us about your business or businesses and what they look like right now.
Yeah, so I am the owner and founder of Identifies Consulting. We're a global talent acquisition firm, and we help organizations set up their recruiting and staffing divisions, their recruiting departments, and really to scale their talent acquisition on a global level or international. Staffingpreneurs Academy is an arm of Identifies Consulting. So we have a consulting side and we have a coaching side. Staffingpreneurs Academy is our coaching side, and that's where we help entrepreneurs who are ready to move away from their daytime job. And some of them really are full-time entrepreneurs as well, and to really help them launch, scale, grow their very own niche recruitment and staffing business to 7-8 figures. And been doing that for about 11 years now, in 10 years. And I'm really excited about the work that I do there. I can't wait till we get into this conversation because when I talk about my businesses, you'll see how they all interconnect, and you can actually build a little mini empire for yourself if you do things the right way. So with all my staffingpreneurs on the coaching side, they all use my online course platform, Reskillify, to get their learning. And recently we've been on YouTube and we've been in LinkedIn, and we have been showing people how to build their courses. So not only are people learning on Reskillify, but they're also teaching on Reskillify. So Reskillify is pretty awesome. And then each and every one of those people who have staffing businesses, they all need to use staffing technology. So I built Hoot Hire, which is a staffing technology to help support the work that they're doing, their applicant tracking system, the work that they're doing in their staffing businesses. So I've really created this infrastructure for myself from a tech perspective, where I'm able to build platforms that essentially support the client base that I've established with my core business. So that just gives you a small kind of glimpse into my crazy world.
And tell me a little bit, how did you even decide that you were going to build your own tech? Because there are other options out there. I have a course right now that I have in Thrivecart Learn, right? So there's Thrivecart Learn, there's Kajabi, there's a bunch of different places. What made you decide hey, I'm going to go off and build my own tech to host this?
Yeah. I'm super passionate about the work that I do. I love every last one of my clients. I probably know most of them, right? Broke bread with them, their families. And so when you're a coach and you're really hands-on, you're checking their work and you are constantly coaching them, you need a platform that is a little bit more intimate. And Reskillify is intimate for me. I've been on Kajabi. I was on ClickFunnels probably the longest. I did Teachable. I did Thinkific. I've done just about every platform you can think of. I don't want my community to be on Facebook. I want my community to be where the course is. If you're watching my course, I want you to be able to comment under the course while you're watching it. And that's what we provide with Reskillify. I want you to be able to chat with the community while you're watching your course videos. That's what we do at Reskillify. I want you to know you can come to a clinic. I have 2 clinics today, and you can get extra learning. You know, like we have so many bells and whistles, but I needed something that was more custom and intimate for adult learners too. That's another thing. Adults learn very differently from children. And I feel like a lot of the online platforms are developed in a very traditional manner that's more geared to like college and different things like that. But once you get to a certain point and you stop going to college for a long time, and now you have to go back to school, your mindset is completely different. How you engage is different. And most of these people back then did not even, adult learners they weren't even going to school online. So Reskillify is intimate. It's it promotes community, and it's custom to coaches who are really working with adult learners and helping to transform them.
Okay, that's interesting. I was just having this conversation with a friend yesterday, not really the same lines, but we were talking about how my group cohorts and how do I keep people engaged and how do I get people to do the homework. He's a teacher. And he's like, it's tough for adults because they haven't been in school a long time. With students, they're constantly like, you got to do your homework every day. And they've been training like this for 12, 13 years, and they've been out of it for a while as adults. So you need to kind of customize your learning experience to people with different lives and like all this stuff. But like, anyway, that kind of speaks to your platform too, because it's different when you're adult. And it is because you've been out of the learning. Usually we've been out of learning mode for a long time.
True.
How long did it take to actually build that tech?
I started with one developer in Egypt who I love still, Mohammed. That was my second tech platform. My first one failed actually, but that was my second one. And it took me, I would say 2 years. But I had people on there, I would say month 3, we had a minimal viable product where it was basically nothing in there. They were complaining initially, but I told them I'm building it on my own. I told them 2-3 years ago, I'm going to be the next Steve Jobs. I'm going to build tech platforms. And they're like, yeah, Dee, whatever. I'm like, shh. So, but it took about 2 years. 3 months to get our minimal viable product out there, but to get it to the point where it is now, where I'm ready for coaches to come on, is a big deal. Our learners, we have over 3,000 learners right now, and they love the platform. We have a calendar so they know when their next class is coming. But this is a lot of stuff. This is really cool, actually. If you ask me a question about accountability for your coaching clients or your friend, you can talk about that, because I've learned some major lessons in that area too. So I try to stay on topic.
Oh my gosh. Maybe if we have time to get to it, for sure. So how did you even get into this tech area, and like specifically, building these platforms and also deciding to focus on Reskillify, but also, staffingpreneur and staffing agencies? It's very unique. Can you give us a little bit of your journey?
Yes. So I'm going to try to speed my journey up, but it's really important. So I was a teen mom. So I'll just start there. I got pregnant when I was 11 and had my baby when I was 12. And
my gosh, that's very young.
Yes, that is very young.
Oh my goodness.
And I was raped essentially. And so, wow. But I decided to keep the baby, but that changed my life. That changed the trajectory of my life. I ended up having another baby when I was 15. I did not finish high school. And I was like a single mom with 2 kids living in the hood in Baltimore, like in real life. And with my own apartment, a rat infested apartment, no refrigerator, no stove, and really just trying to figure out who I was and who I was going to be with these 2 young boys by my side. I spent a lot of time at the library in Towson State University. You got to go back and watch some of my interviews. So I know we have a short period of time, but they were they played a very pivotal role in me being the person that I am today. because I could not pass the test at a staffing agency. I was trying to get a job at a staffing agency. That's how I actually got into it. And I couldn't pass the test. And like I said, I was poor, young mom, getting on the bus every day with my kids. And they took time and watched my kids, fed my kids, and worked with me every day for months until
The staffing agency did?
no, the
Oh, okay.
library, the old
The
lady.
library. Yeah. Okay. I was like, I've never heard of a staffing agency.
No, the old lady
Okay.
in the library. And I ended up passing the test and ended up getting a job making $13-14 an hour, something crazy. And that was kind of the start of my journey, even dealing with staffing agencies, but also my journey to just the world and how I became the Dee Williams Audacionaire you see today. So that's how I got into staffing. So I started staffing at a very young age. So I was working for somebody as a receptionist, different things like that. Life happened. I won't tell all the stories, but I ended up working for a staffing agency for a lady named Susan, and she was amazing. And she went out of her way to really show me the basics. She gave me a white pages, a yellow pages. She said, the yellow pages you call business, the white pages you call people, and let's do it. And that's how I learned. We got resumes in the mail, and when the fax machine was big, she got our first fax machine. That was big. We were getting resumes via fax. Then email. I feel so dated. Then email came, and so I've watched this industry grow. I've been a part of this industry my entire career. I've always had odd jobs part-time, but this is the core love of what I've done. And I've worked in corporate, I've worked for consulting firms. I've had my own consulting firm. I've worked as management, as executive, every area you could possibly think of in recruiting and staffing. I've been in executive search. And so when I decided to quit my job in 2011 and start my staffing agency, because my boss told me that I was only good enough to recruit. Basically, I had helped grow the organization through training and coaching. And the staff, they were bringing people in from other branches for me to train them. And when I asked for the title, they wouldn't give me the title because I brought in so much money through recruiting. So I quit. And when I went to quit, he tried to keep me. And he said, nobody's going to ever, he said, what are you going to do? You need to just go ahead, put your stuff away, act like we never had this conversation, and go sit down. And I was so livid that he spoke to me that way. And I said, no, I'm going to start my own. Maybe I start my own business. And he said, well, you have a 1-year non-compete. You can't do that. I said, well, maybe I start a coaching business and create people that are better than you. And he laughed with the most disgusting laugh on the planet. Like, it hurt me down to my soul. And it was like, and he said, nobody's ever going to buy coaching from you. And I was like, well, how do I know if they don't try? I wasn't even thinking about the fact that they were literally using me for the last year to coach and build their business. I was just so hurt that he was treating me as if I was just a woman, just go sit there and do what I tell you to do type of thing. And so I started, I got drunk in a bottle of wine, got myself together the next morning, and really brought Identifies Consulting to life and started to coach and train people. I started out, like I said, on the consulting side, working with staffing agencies, Kelly, like all the big staffing agencies, TRC, Ronstadt. I mean, like literally working with them, coaching and training, Manpower, Labor Ready, and then some of the smaller ones in Atlanta, and had locations everywhere. And then I moved on and got cancer in 2013. And when I got cancer, I couldn't travel anymore. And so I started coaching people, more entrepreneurs. That's how Staffingpreneurs Academy came around. And they told me I had about 3 months to live in October 2013, and tell my mom, come. My mom left work. They came and started to plan my funeral arrangements. And I had to decide whether or not I wanted to live first. Second, I had to decide who I was and who I was going to be if I decided to stay. What type of legacy was I going to create? And did I want to be forgotten? And I made a lot of very solid choices and decisions in that moment. I decided to live. As you can tell, I'm still here and I'm looking better than ever, better than before. But the thing that I love the most is the level of impact that I've been able to create from that moment forward. I've done some amazing things in my life, and I've overcome some amazing things. But the work that I've done in the past 10 years with the Staffingpreneurs have been nothing short of amazing. I've turned $13 an hour people into multimillionaires. And that's a gift that I feel like everybody doesn't have. I know that was a long story. I tried to shorten it, but
no, that was so impactful, to use your word, but like so deep. And like there there's so much, like when I hear a story like that, I want to like dig into, and it's like always a hard balance for me. It's a tug of war of like, how much do I want to ask you, but also stay on track with the podcast. How, this is important to me. You have been, like you were talking about how you were raped very young, and then you had another pregnancy, and then you were going to the library to learn everything, and then you had that boss who basically wrote you off. How did you find the grit and determination to continue to better yourself instead of saying, well, I guess this is just my lot in life, I guess I'm just no good, or I can't do this, or whatever it is? How do you find that deep well and pull from it and continue to rise?
I refuse to let somebody else define me. At the end of the day, and that will in itself is strong enough for me to decide that nobody's going to tell me what I beat death. I mean, essentially, I mean, they like nobody's going to tell you. Can't create my story for me. I can only create my story. I control it. Now, there's some things that are out of my control. I believe that they're out of my control, but I control that. So I have to decide what I want my story to be, and then I have to move towards that by any means necessary, ethically. And that's where it comes from, to be honest with you. I actually, right now, you even asking me that question, I got angry. I like, just like the nerve of somebody think they're going to try to define me and where I'm going. When I was younger, they would tell me all the time, you're going to be ghetto, you're going to have gold teeth, you're going to have 10 kids by 10 different men, you're going to be on welfare for the rest of your life. I was listening to that story. I was like, that did not sound like who I believe myself to be. I'm not about to accept that. So now that creates a fire in me to figure out, how do I reverse that? How do I make sure I don't go down that lane? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. And that's something that's a common thread, I think, in a lot of the interviews I do. And that's why I like to ask this question, because it's like, how do you get into that? And why do some people not have that? Because it's been different stories and people from many different backgrounds, but a lot of the people who keep working at it and keep striving at it, they're saying, like, people are saying like, oh, I don't know, are you going to be able to do this? Like, I mean, I had one woman whose husband was like, okay, if you can't work this out in 1 year, can you please go back to work? Because we don't have a lot of money, And she was like, okay. But she said in her head, I'm going to make it work. It's like, there's a part of the psychology in these podcast interviews I'd love to like kind of start digging deeper into and maybe taking better notes, because there's something there. There's obviously something there, right?
It's a switch. And I agree. Everybody doesn't know how to activate that switch. I believe everybody has the switch. They don't know how to activate it. When I try to teach people how to activate it, the best way to think about it is think about the person that you love the most on the entire world, the person you can't live without, and they're stuck under a car. And you feel like you're going to go, you're not going to just stand there. If you feel like you got the chance to help them, you're going to try to pick that car, whether you can or not. You're going to try your best to pull them out. It's something in you. It's a feeling. That feeling, if you can put yourself in that space of you trying to get to them, it's that feeling. That's the switch. And and it's the feeling of determination. It's the feeling of, I'm going to do it. That's resilience. That's the switch. Not everybody got the switch. If you sit back and you say, oh man, she under the car, my bad, then the switch ain't on. You're not activating, but everyone has the switch. It's about whether or not they know how to tap into it and activate it or not.
It's finding what is that key that gets in there and turns it. And then I noticed that with my cohorts, it's difficult. It's difficult. There's some people who give up, who go through the sessions, and then I just stop seeing them. They start doing homework less and less, and then I stop seeing them. And then it's just like, oh, what did I miss? How could I have pulled them further? But like that key was missing. So it's amazing. That is an amazing story. How do you know how you beat cancer? Or
yes.
I mean, like they said you had 3 months to live. So then now, and you're still here.
Yes, that was a traumatic 3 months. First of all, I did not have to do chemo, thank goodness, but I had to take a lot of weird pills that cost $1 billion, not really $1 billion, but lots of money, to try. I was bleeding to death, basically. And they could not stop it. They couldn't do surgery fast enough I was bleeding to death basically. And so my hemoglobin needed to be a certain level for them to even do the surgery. And it wasn't, it was like a 4, like death basically. And but they worked on me and I worked on me. I mean, I did a lot of things. I had reprogrammed my mind. I had cards all over the house, over the ceiling. When I wake up in the morning, index cards that says you are living, you are alive, you are like, I went crazy reprogramming myself. I was not going down easy. Okay. And then one day they called my insurance company canceled me. Me and my mom were together. The insurance company canceled me. And then the next day, the hospital called and said, because I was testing every day. They were testing my hemoglobin every day. And they called and said, we finally got it to the point you have to come in tomorrow morning. And I said, but they canceled my insurance. And he said, do you want to live?
Yeah.
Said, mm-hmm. And it was a lady actually. And she said, come on in tomorrow. So I came in and they saved my life. My gynecologist and the oncologist used the robotic surgery. Actually, the tumor was, I looked like I was 10 months pregnant. The tumor was so large in my stomach. It was wow. So then I was on bed rest for another 3 months. So a couple of my first videos on my YouTube channel, I have like 500 videos, but it was me the first day that I was able to be alert. And I did my first video about a recruitmentstore.com because on bed rest, I started building the academy. I built my e-store. I built the academy. I started daydreaming about my staff, the team that I wanted to hire, the clients that I wanted to have. I started to really create this whole world that didn't even exist in my soul, in my mind, in my energy. I was walking around my room like, okay, team, morning team, like really getting myself into the energy of who I knew I was about to become or who I was walking into. And all of those things would really played a major part of me being able to beat the cancer, me being able to have these businesses juggle. I juggle multiple businesses and yeah, so, and my family, I got kids, I got 3 children. Yeah. They're grown, but I still have 3 beautiful children I love.
Isn't that what they say manifestation is? To just place yourself in, like you're living it, like you convince yourself that you're living in your brain, and it's really an amazing thing. And I know people poo-poo it, but I find it really fascinating because there is, and I've noticed in my own life, there is a line of really believing that's who you are and trying to force yourself to believe who you are. That's who you are. It's very interesting. But I've talked to a few manifestation people on this podcast, so my audience knows about it. But that is essentially what you were doing. It was like when you get up and say hi team, and like you do all that. I do that stuff too. I'm like walking my dog, and I'm like talking, like if I'm growing some part of my business or whatever, I'm talking to people out loud, like they're there, and I'm doing this whole new business.
We are there energetically.
Yes, exactly.
We're just trying to shift the energy for us to visually see it, right? But if for anybody who doesn't think it's real, it's crazy, because everything that we are attached to started with an idea. It started with something that someone imagined first. Someone came up with the idea of the MacBook or the microphone or whatever. Somebody came up with those ideas. So you can come up with the idea of who you want to be. You can come up with the idea of how you want to live. You can come up with, if you see where I live at right now, listen, far from the little rat infested house where I had holes in the floors and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle blankets and the rats crawling up my chest, far from that. I can see the sunset over here and the beautiful, I won't say exactly where I live at, but I'm on the 6th floor and it's a mighty beautiful view over here from my balcony. So it's about who you believe that you are, just finding it in a different version of you and tapping into it.
Wow.
I'm done yet either. Let me just
you're so amazing. I wish we could have this podcast for like 3 hours because you have so much that you can like give to people. It's so much information. I love this. So let's talk a little bit about hiring, because you have some experience with that personally and also with staffingpreneur and with your background. How do you hire right the first time so you're not, with someone that you have to fire or they're just not catching up and they're not good enough?
Yeah, I think that it's unrealistic to think that you can hire right the first time. And that's just from years of experience. When you're creating a role, typically you're not even aware of how the role is going to be. Now, if you're filling something that's already there, that's a different scenario. But if you're creating something and you're hiring somebody for a role that's brand new to you as well, there's going to be some trial and error. And typically that first hire is the one that allows you to see what that trial and error is. Right. So I'm not an unrealistic person. Can you get it right the first time? Of course you can. I've got a couple of staff members that I got it right the first time. But especially if you're a new business, starting out, a lot of times your first hire, your second hire, sometimes even your third are the ones you didn't get to that. You didn't figure out who that right person is or that right fit is until you've gone through the process. So I want to stop there because this is my passion, and there are layers to that because it's things you've got to do to get it right the first time, or to try to get it right the first time. But I want to stop there. I want to period there. Do you want to say
I was going to ask, do you use any those like personality assessments?
Okay, so now we can get to part two. Okay, so part two of that is most people don't take the time to create a hiring process so that they can fully understand who they're bringing into the organization. That is the biggest error employers make. They just say, oh, I need help, I'm going to hire this person. But you should have a system. So first I have a rec. I open my own rec. A requisition is basically who I'm going to hire. And I define what I want in that person. That's very important. Don't think it in your brain. You have to actually sit down and write it out. Qualities, a personality. Those are very important. Culture fit is just as important as them being able to do the job. And then can they do the job? And then how you want them working in your organization, part-time, full-time, whatever the case may be. Now you go and you create your job description. And today you can use ChatGPT or something like that to help you as a starting point. But I tell people you should be writing down every day all the things that you don't want to do, you don't like doing, or you feel like you could outsource or use help with. And those are the things that you're going to hopefully add into those job descriptions. After you create your job description, immediately you should create a job posting, which is totally different from a job description. A job posting is an advertisement, and that's getting people in the mood of, yes, this is the place that I want to work, and this is the work that I want to do. As soon as you finish writing your job description, you create your interview questions, and you should have a series of interview questions. You might have screening questions to go with when the person applies online, but you also may have questions in regards, you should have 15-minute phone screening questions to weed them out. The idea is not to talk to a million people, it's to find the quality person, right? So you want to weed people out as the process goes on. After you have your 15-minute interview, you should do a 30-minute Zoom interview so that you all can see each other face to face if you're virtual, or even if you're not, that Zoom. And then you should do a third interview, which is a 1 hour in-person interview. And if you don't do in person, then you can do that one remote. If you decide you like them, then you go and do assessments. I do a human design test and the DISC personality test. And then I check their references. And then after I do that, then I have them back for yet another interview for culture and compensation conversation to make sure that we're still on the same page, because people will say they'll take the job and then rescind the offer. They don't do it. So then after I do that, I also create questions that will allow me to measure their performance in their first 90 days, because you lose your person in the first 90 days if you're not communicating with them and showing them how they're being measured based on the things that they're doing. You're also going to create SOPs, which are standard operating procedures. And then I like to create either a scorecard or a checklist of things that they need to do every day. Don't assume that just because you give them the job description and you tell them what to do, that they're going to know what to do. If you give them a checklist, then they can go to that every day, and you can also hold them accountable for that. And then finally, I write email reach outs and LinkedIn reach outs. Those are the ones that I'm going to use when I'm sourcing or when I'm going out to find my person, because the next biggest mistake is posting the job and waiting for someone to show up. In real life, the best talent is the talent that you're scouting on your own, the talent that you're scouting online, that you're meeting at the grocery store, at the 21 Forever 21, or whatever the case may be. That's where you're going to find your best. So there's a process that most people don't know, or they don't take the time to complete, and that's why they don't get it right the first time. And I'll stop there, but I hope that was helpful for anyone out there who's in the hiring process. They're things that
Super
have to be.
helpful. Super helpful. And I think it's actually the latter. I think it's people feel like it's a lot of time and they feel like they should have hired yesterday. So all the time that they might be taking to get it right, they're like, oh, but then that's wasted time where I don't have someone. But it's not wasted time because that time is actually very beneficial for making sure that you don't waste further time further on when you realize they're not a good fit. So that was really helpful. And I've never had someone like outline it like that so clearly. Like I've had a few similarities with other conversations, but this is like boom, 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 boom. And I'm going to put that all in my newsletter. That's very helpful. So thank you for that. I knew you'd have a lot of good stuff on that. Let's talk about your mindset a little bit. We did. We talked about like the grit and the, turning the key. What do you think was one action item you took that really started to grow and propel your business forward to 7 figures? If you could distill it down into one action item.
Oh, one action item. I would just say it was really relationships, to be honest with you. Everyone that comes through my door, I touch or my team is touching. And like I said earlier, I built a different type of relationship. Even my corporate clients, they invite me to baby showers and bar mitzvahs and and funerals and different things like that. The key is relationships. I saw somewhere or read somewhere, I think even what's the guy, Russell Brunson, the guy who does ClickFunnels. They said that you need only 1,000 people to really build. I think that was the number 1,000. If it wasn't, that's what I'm shooting for. But I try to touch everyone, because the moment you touch them and you make that connection, when you start engaging with them on a financial level, the level of comfortability and safety that they have with you makes it very easy for them to open up their pockets and to spend 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, $500,000 or $1 million or more.
I haven't heard that. It's a good advice though. So then what kind of advice do you have for people who are trying to create a successful course and community, kind of tying back to that, right? Like touching people like suppose you have a course and people are just buying it on Evergreen. Do you recommend that they reach out personally to every single person, phone call? Okay.
Phone and call. Hey, I saw you because you're missing out on opportunity. You're missing out on opportunity to upsell. They took the course for a certain reason. So if they took the course, then you pick up the phone and call. Hey, I saw you just purchased the course. How are you? Okay, listen, I'm so excited to be on this journey with you. My name is Dee. I'm the one who created the course. So tell me a little bit about why you decided to take this course. Oh, okay, you're experiencing that. Well, we have this product that can help you as well. You have this product. Oh, we can support you with that. And now you just turned a $49 course to a $2,000 ticket. And that's just by having conversations. That's by building relationships. That's by actually genuinely getting to know the person to see exactly why they're investing in the course from the very beginning. Is it time consuming? Yeah, but like you'll get to your money way faster.
Well, I've never even considered that. Embarrassing.
I can predict a $10,000 day if I want. Real talk. I can literally pick up the phone and start calling my clients and having conversations with them. I have a young lady on my team the other day. We had a client, he paid $10,000 or $15,000 with us for the coaching program. They haven't been moving in the program. He tells them, my team kind of ditched me or whatever the case may be. We're going to close the business. She said, why do that? Well, we can build the business for you. He said, you could build the staffing business for us? She said, sure. He said, well, what does that look like? She said, well, it's a minimum of $250,000. Are you prepared to? He said, I'm interested in the conversation. Like, y'all are going to sell for me. You're going to recruit for me. You're going to actually build the business from scratch. She's like, yeah, that's where it starts at. And so we're meeting. So that just took a conversation. That was a client who spent 10 to 15. Now he's about to spend 250 or more. So it really, you don't, unless you're engaging with them, then you won't understand how to grow your business. And I'm going to tell you a secret. This is a real secret. I can't believe I'm telling you this. This is a real secret. If you do it that way, okay, then you can actually start to create more products and services that resonate with your audience. And you'll be able to sell it over and over and over again. So you're talking to them and they're telling you what the problem is. Now your brain should be ticking to see, because even if you don't have it, can you create it? Is it creatable? Can you outsource it and get somebody to create it for you and you mark it up and then say that, like, what can you do? How can you support them? Because they already have a relationship with you. They're already spending with you. They already are trying to get to know you or know you. create services. Now you made it. Now I got a $10,000 day. Oh, you're trying to figure out how to tell the client, you show the client your value. Have you ever thought about a calculator? No, I never thought of, well, how about we create a calculator for you that does this, that. Oh, Dee, how much is that going to cost? It's going to cost somewhere around $600 or and whatever the value is. I didn't pop it off at that price. We had to go back in and make sure that we had the right pricing or whatever. But you can start creating, well, I'll get back to you. You know what I'm saying? And then get back to them with the price. But you can start creating services. I didn't have that calculated before, but now I know she needs one. I have the idea. Bam, you got it. Now I done did that. Now I got the calculator. I'm about to call everybody else I know. Hey, are you having this problem? Oh, well, listen, I got a calculator. Hey, are you having this problem? Now I've turned this $600 calculator. I've sold it to 6 more people.
Actually, was when you were talking about getting on the phone and having people like, oh, do you know we have this product? Do you know we have this product? I actually just had a brainstorm where like I have all these bonuses with my course. Maybe I can do some testing to do them as individuals instead of like just another package you can buy, see what are people most interested in, what are people buying, and just have them buy as one-offs as opposed to one package. Because spending X $100 more is a lot more intimidating than spending $50 more. Even if they spend $50 purchases, right? Like, you know what I mean?
It's true.
Already. Just hearing that made me think like, oh.
Because I'm telling you, most of your audience, they would spend $10,000 for your stuff. They would spend $15,000. They would spend $50,000. You may not think they will, but I promise you they will. They have it. And if they don't, they know how to go and get it. It's just about how you're delivering your product. So let me ask you a question. Do you have courses or do you have a full-blown coaching program with courses underneath it or inside it?
Well, so I've got the course that you can buy whenever, and then I've got the cohorts that's twice a year that you get the like your assigned part of the course, and then we meet and we go through and we rehash your business and we bring it to the next level.
Okay, I love that. The model that I teach or that I have implemented that has worked, that has gotten me to where I am, is you have your courses for sure, and of course your digital products, but we have a coaching program, right? And our coaching program is extremely extensive. So from the point of onboarding, they are paired with a customer success manager that goes through the onboarding with them of how to use the technology and how to use the program. And then they meet with them as an accountability partner every week for 15 minutes to make sure they're moving along. Within Reskillify, we have an electronic checklist that they utilize, and their accountability partner can actually work with them to make sure they're on track with the work that they're doing. They spend roughly $16,000 for the program. They get access to 7 classes, 7 courses and 3 live classes every week. So the 3 live classes are on Monday. I spend my Monday doing live classes. They're 1 hour long. One of them is 2 hours because I love that course. And people show up every week. After the 6 months, they continue to pay a monthly fee for whatever the case, to continue to come to the classes. They always have access to the courses. We also in our program build their brands for them as well. So we add more value.
I saw that, yeah.
So they do coaching, live classes. They get the community. They get 1 million digital downloads. They get the full course. They get onboarded. They get the accountability partner, and it is freaking amazing. And it's like they feel like they've got the hands-on support that they need, and people will pay for support. Adult learners will pay for support because they need a different level of support. So everybody that I deal with, and they sell courses for $50, whatever, I don't think we even have a $50 course. Like we really literally either going to get it for free so that you can understand our value, and then you're going to come in, but then you're going to pay for the real value that you get. And the real value is the support, not just the learning. It's being able to show up. It's being able to be around other people. It's being able to have somebody hold me literally accountable every week and actually seeing my vision. Like I know so many people never finish the course. Not only do they never finish the course, whatever the course is on, they never complete that. So we try to create coaching programs that help, and our platform is built that way to help people create coaching programs so that they can be held accountable. You can see how much of the course they've done. You can call, hey, I see you haven't finished your course. Tell me what's going on. Now you're getting in their personal life, and now you're building a stronger relationship. Now you're listening out for other services and products that you can potentially sell to them. Now you're building your business.
This is like hopefully me in 5 years, 10 years, building something bigger and bigger and bigger and like getting more organized. How do workshops kind of play into this? Because I saw that you do some workshops too. How does that help grow your own business?
Yes, because I have such a community. Like, so I do a tour every year. We do 7 stops. I didn't do it last year because I'm too busy actually, but we do 7 stops typically. And I know that sounds crazy, but we do it hybrid. So we stream it from within Reskillify, and then I'm also in person. And I have typically lots of boxes that I ship to each city, and they go lower, the least amount as I get to the last city. But we do 20 seats, so we don't make it super big. So it's very small because it's hands-on, typically 20 people online, 20 people in person, or 10 online, 10 in person, so that you can be hands-on. And they love it because the spots are limited. My tickets typically $1,000 to $3,000, depending on how many days that we're doing it and what we're trying to accomplish. And people absolutely love it. They comment under my videos, they send messages, when are you doing your next workshop? And I actually don't do them as much as I used to, just because my popularity is growing rather quickly.
That's a good problem to have.
That's a great problem.
All right. Tell me quickly, what do you think has been the best investment and the worst investment in your business?
The best investment in my business was scaling, hiring my staff. They are my joy. They are my pride and joy. So that was definitely my best investment. Anybody who wants to do it on their own. I was a solo entrepreneur for 8 years, 9 years, and I loved it. I balled out, but you can't go nowhere. You can't go anywhere. You can only stay but so far. So the moment you decide to invest in a team, now you're taking your business to 8 figures, right? And so that was my best investment. My worst investment, man, I would say it's many, and many meaning buying apps and software that I'm never going to use. I mean, when my accountant and I did the tally, it was pretty big. The amount of money that I wasted with technology that, I said I'm going to use and I didn't use, or we used it for 5 minutes. They don't give you a refund back because I didn't read the contract or pay attention to what there was. Lots of wasted money on things that we don't even need.
What do you think is, I mean, this is a little bit different, but what do you think is like more of a larger business mistake that you've learned from and grown from over the past, 15 years, however long?
Starting things without a coach, starting things without having somebody who knows more than me. Every time I've launched something and I did not consult with some type of expert, I've wasted my money. I know you don't want me to say that, but I don't know, but it's really money is
No,
how
I
you
agree.
move. You know what I'm saying? So for me, when I start thinking about loss to me is either people or money, because those are the 2 things that I'm trying to make money, and people are how I'm going to grow my business, whether it's my clients or whether it's my internal staff. So those are the 2 things that matter to me the most. And so if I'm losing any one of those, that's a major loss for me.
So where do you see your business going? Tell us in the next, let's say, 2 to 5 years.
I believe that Reskillify will be one of the largest online learning platforms on the planet in the next 2 to 3 years. To be honest with you, we're growing very rapidly, so much that my team can't keep up. I believe that I have a goal of how many entrepreneurs I want to convert to millionaires. I believe I reached my goal. I see my business going in a number of different places. We're scaling pretty rapidly, the talent acquisition side, the consulting division. So that's going to be amazing. I mean, I have so many things happen. I'm going to India. I'm launching another tech startup for virtual nurses. So we have that happening that's attached to
I saw something. I clicked on that nurse thing and on your site, not nurse thing, but like the link for the nurses. And I was like, oh, interesting. Like, I mean, why nurses?
Yeah. Well, nurses travel.
Yeah.
They travel everywhere. And they make a lot of money, and hospitals and facilities pay a lot of money for them. So so nurses, churches, we're working with churches. I just hired a young lady. She's going to start in a couple of weeks. We're going to help churches launch their own staffing business, as well as course programs, coaching programs, same way, so that they can have people either learning or people delivering the information. So we've got that happening on our platform. I'm going to India. I have a team. I have an office there. My team is there, but I'm going there and I'm working with a VC who's helping to fund one of my tech platforms. Like, I have so much happening that it's crazy, and I feel super blessed. I feel, the business is definitely going to take over. We're definitely taking over.
You have like so much to be thankful for, just listening to your whole story. And I can feel that energy from you, just knowing that like you're not just like taking it for granted. You know that you have a lot to be thankful for. And that is just so amazing. You talked briefly, I really want to go into this. Like, what hurdles have you faced specifically as a woman and a woman of color in your industry and in this tech industry?
Yeah. So tech is, I mentioned earlier, like women of color get from VC capital like 0.3% of the money, right? And so we're not typically taken seriously when we come to the table and say we want to start a tech product. So my first tech product was Mo Plan Do, which I was really excited about, and I had a client that I was courting. Actually, this guy is famous, actually, and but he has a staffing agency, and so I asked him to be my mentor, coach. That's what I said, doing things without. And when I went to him, he was so demeaning and so disrespectful and so harsh. And I tried to look at it like he was just giving me constructive criticism, but it wasn't like that at all, because I found out shortly after he gave the money to a white guy who did not have a product, who only had an idea. I had a full-blown product with people on it, generating revenue. And this guy only had an idea, and he gave him the money and did not give me the money. So I've definitely dealt with situations. Even my boss, I told you, when I went to quit, he treated me like crap. He was like, girl, go sit down and go back and do what you do every day. Just go recruit. Go sit down. Go ahead. Let's act like this didn't even happen. The condescending, like, for me, is just a lot. So it's definitely challenging showing up. For me, it's challenging showing up with my natural hair as a Black woman. I'll just keep it real. I might get away with some things because I'm cute, but most of the time, like, when I was heavier, that was discriminated because I was a little bit thicker. Now I'm not so much. But there's a lot of discriminatory, I would say, acts that I've experienced, just as an entrepreneur, as a woman from men. But what I will say is that if you connect with the right man, if you connect and you're able to share your vision and your story with the right person, then I do believe the success is inevitable. And so the startup money that I'm getting now is from a man, but he's of a different culture. He's from an Indian culture, who sees diversity as something that's very important. So maybe it's not always that situation shifted my thought process and said, okay, well, if I'm going to be hit at the door like that, then how can I still accomplish the same thing, but open up a different door? So it was still a good, experience to have, because now look where I'm at. And I asked for 3.5 and I got approved for 1.5.
Wow. Oh, that's another totally different topic I would like to go into. I didn't even know that you had been through that kind of like fundraising and whatnot. So that would be really cool, or just like asking for investments. But we can't. So what advice do you have for other women? And specifically, since you're a woman of color, what advice do you have for other women of color if they want to grow their business like you and hit 7 figures?
Build relationships, stay tenacious, do not give up. Talk about your dream, but talk about it to the right people. Not to the wrong people, and stay focused. Right now is not the time to play. Right now is not the time to be on social media as a user, but as a provider, as a content provider. Right now it's time to not go on vacation every week, every month. You're building your business. So I would say get focused, get serious, make the decision, and do exactly what you say you're going to do. And everything that you want is actually going to come to life.
It's interesting. There's 2 schools of thought right now going on the internet, and it's funny to see who falls into each. Like, there's people who are saying you don't need to hustle to achieve your dreams. You can still do what you need to do with just a few hours a week. Just be really focused. And then there's people who are like, no, in order to achieve those high dreams, you got to hustle. You got to do the night. You got to do the weekends. You got to give up stuff. You got to give up that hanging out with that friend or friends or whatever. And I fall into the other one. Like, I think that, like, I remember when I started my first business, like, working weekends, working nights, working early mornings. And now I'm in growth stage and I'm doing the same thing. I'm finding spare moments on the weekend to work. Now I have 2 kids, which makes it 10 times harder. But now it's like, finding the time on the weekend, doing the night, doing the morning, doing that. And I just don't, maybe you don't have to hustle, but I think it would take you a lot longer.
Yeah, you definitely have to hustle in the beginning. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like those people are talking about once you get to, like, once I started coasting, then yeah, I could move my schedule around. But in the beginning, you're starting your business, you got to be dedicated in a totally different way. Like, honey, not today. Kids in your room, friends, hook up with you later. I am super laser focused. And that may be for 3 months. That may be for 6 months. That may be a year. It may be for 2 years. And you come up for air every now and then for sure, but you're on a mission. I lost custody of my son. I know we got to go, but I lost custody of my son when I was a little girl. Okay. And my aunt, my great aunt, she tricked me. Okay. I signed the paper. She said, sign this paper to get him in school. I go ahead. And then I kept calling her, where's my baby? Where's my baby? That's not your baby anymore. That's my son. No, it's not. You signed the paper. I go look at the paper. I signed custody away. I had to do everything to get my baby back. I got my baby back, just so you know. I had to do everything. I had to be so focused. I had to have a plan, and I had to stick with that plan relentlessly to get my kid back. And that's how you have to be in your business. You have to be so relentless and so focused until you get to a certain point. And then when you get to a certain point, you can cruise until you decide that you want to create your next goal and you're ready to get relentless and focused about achieving that next goal.
I actually have that on one of my course slides. It's to be relentless. Cause I always have people so basically what I do is I coach other freelancers to grow their business to 6 figures and beyond. Cause a lot of them are stuck under 6 figures. And, people just don't understand the relentless. And that's one of the, I have you have to be relentless. If you want to grow your business, you have to be relentless. Get out there and just put yourself out there and contact every single person you know and people you don't know and just try to, but I love that you said relentless because I'm thinking of my slide that says be relentless.
20 hours yesterday I worked. I had to calculate it this morning when the makeup artist, because I got it before 20 hours I worked yesterday.
Wow.
And my stopping point, I ate something and came back, but it was too important to stop. The things that needed to be done were too important. And I knew I had to get up early. I knew I had to be here available for this. And I know I have a long day today, but it was very important that those things get done. That's the relentless, right? And then Friday is my date night. That's the night I date myself. I'm going to drink. I'm going to party. I'm going to go ham. Okay. Because my week has been crazy. But while I'm working, it's on. It's not a game.
Oh, Dee, this has been such a good conversation. So inspiring. Can you tell us, where can we find you? What's your websites? If you have any social media handles, if you have any freebies you want to give to the audience, anything like that, let us know.
I have tons of freebies on Staffingpreneurs Academy if you're looking to start a staffing business. But if you're looking to start your course and get your coaching program up, first thing I would say is go to reskillify.com and start your 30-day trial. So that's the first thing. The second thing is come meet me on YouTube. You can just type in YouTube Dee Williams Staffing and I show right up, but my handle is @Dee Williams. I have about 500 videos. We talk about staffing, but we also talking about building courses. And every Wednesday for the past 6 weeks, we've been meeting. You'll see them numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Go back through all of them, download the free stuff. It takes literally no time to get your course up and going on the Reskillify platform. I'm on IG and TikTok, but I got to be honest with y'all. I don't really be on social media. My team answers my social media more than anything. But if you catch me on YouTube, that's really my channel. So I'm on YouTube all the time. So I would DM me send me a message, comment under my video. But if you IG me, my team will get you on my calendar. If you Facebook me, my team will get you on my calendar. I'm Dee Williams, GA, or your Dee Williams. It's not hard to find me. I'm everywhere, literally. Just say Dee Williams Staffing, and you'll see everything pop up in my world. But just come hang out with me. My TikTok is popping too, a little bit.
A little bit. So what is one philosophy, mantra, or quote that you try to run your business by?
You know it's real when you are who you think you are. Drake.
Nice. All right. So thank you so much for joining me for this interview, Dee. And if you are part of our audience, stick around or sign up for our newsletter is what I should say, the Tipping Jar of Wisdom, where you'll get the exclusive content that we will be going into with Dee, and she'll give you actionable advice on how to grow your business and things you need to know. So please share please share this podcast on your phone if you find it valuable and informative, which I know you just did. So thank you, Dee, again.
Thank you so much. This was amazing.